Imagine uncovering an ancient artifact with a warning that chills you to the core. A small, unassuming whistle found buried in the sands, but with a history as dark as the night. Today, we're diving into M.R. James's spine-tingling tale, "Oh, Whistle, and I'll Come to You, My Lad." What starts as curiosity becomes a descent into supernatural horror, showing us that some things are better left undisturbed. Our story begins with Professor Parkins, a reserved and skeptical man, taking a brief holiday at the seaside. He's the kind of man who doesn't believe in the supernatural and often mocks the very idea of ghosts. During his stay, he decides to pass the time exploring an ancient site near the coast, where he's certain he'll find nothing but fragments of history. While wandering the dunes, he notices something odd, a small thin object poking out of the sand. It's a whistle, worn and ancient, inscribed with strange, almost unreadable symbols. Intrigued, Parkins decides to take it back with him, brushing off the eerie feeling that briefly crosses his mind. He dismisses it as simply an old relic, a curiosity of the past. Back at the hotel that evening, Parkins examines the whistle closely. The Latin inscription, though faint, reads something like, "Who is this who is coming?" Brushing off any unease, he decides to blow the whistle as a lark. The sound is sharp and piercing, carrying a strange, unsettling resonance that seems to echo far longer than it should. It's as if the sound awakens something in the air around him. That night, Parkins is haunted by strange dreams. He finds himself on a deserted shore, chased by a vague, menacing figure in the distance. The figure moves with unnatural speed, creeping closer and closer until Parkins jolts awake, drenched in sweat. But again, he dismisses it, chalking it up to his imagination. Over the following days, strange occurrences plague Parkins. In his hotel room, he feels an eerie presence, as if someone or something is watching him. The room grows colder, shadows lengthen unnaturally, and he begins to hear faint whispers in the middle of the night, echoing with the same tone as the whistle. One evening, as he returns to his room, he finds an object on his bed, a figure shaped from the hotel bedding, arranged as if a person were lying there, waiting for him. His heart races, but he convinces himself it's a prank, perhaps by one of the hotel staff. Still, the fear gnaws at him, becoming harder to ignore. In a final, chilling sequence, Parkins blows the whistle once more, perhaps to prove to himself that his fears are irrational. This time, the effect is immediate. A gust of icy wind blows through the room, and he feels an overwhelming presence approaching. The sound of footsteps echoes in the hall, growing louder, closer, relentless. He turns and sees a shadowy figure at the end of the corridor, moving towards him with a slow, menacing shuffle. As it nears, he realizes that it's no human, but a twisted, spectral figure with hollow eyes and a face twisted in anguish. Paralyzed by fear, Parkins watches as it reaches out with ghostly hands, almost touching him, before he scrambles backward, dropping the whistle in his panic. In a desperate final act, he retreats, throwing open his door and fleeing down the hall, his heart pounding. The apparition lingers, staring after him, then slowly retreats, leaving Parkins with the unforgettable memory of his near encounter with a ghostly horror. "Oh, Whistle, and I'll Come to You, My Lad" is a story that reminds us that some mysteries are best left undiscovered. M.R. James crafts a chilling tale where the mundane meets the supernatural, proving that curiosity can indeed be a curse. If you're drawn to tales of haunted relics and the horrors that lie just beyond our understanding, don't miss out on this classic ghost story. Remember, some things are better left untouched and unheard.